Haribol. My pronouns to all the devotees. So we are going to start now with 4 series of. I have been requested by Krishangi to give some information about the Vaishnavi Saints in our tradition. And I have been digging a little bit on this topic before. And I would like to share with you, and I have found in several books now. I will present to you the exact sources I have used, and we will go through their biographies. So I hope it will be interesting for everyone. Of course, first I will for my pronouns. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Sidam Spalam Saranitirasikam Hamsam Vilasatmakam Udaraki Sudhama Sevakadanam Vishama Bhakti Pradamachna Vichakshanam Tvaga Vidya Vishishta Shakti Vandeham Tripurari Namakatim Shri Bhakti Vidanti Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I would like first to summarize a little bit the topic, because it has become recently quite a hot topic, with this discussion about the ISKCON female gurus, etc. So I have found a little bit of information and notes from Srila Sridhar Maharaj about the topic, a little bit from Srila Prabhupada. And generally, Gaudiya Vaishnavism have been blessed with several important women gurus, and they have been empowered by Mahaprabhu in times when there was long gaps in disciplic succession. They have inspired many Vaishnavas, and they have given also initiations. So we will speak about several most prominent and most famous. So the most famous, of course, is Janava Thakurani. She's the wife of Lord Nityananda and his Shakti. And there is also Hemalata Thakurani, who is the daughter of Srinivasa Acharya. And also there are 2 sisters, Krishna Priya and Vishnu Priya. They're 2 renunciate sisters, and they were daughters of chief disciple of Narottam Das Thakur, who is called Ganga Narayan Chakravarti. And another is Ganga Mata Goswamini. I have found also about 2 contemporary Vaishnavis. They left the world already, but one was in the mat of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and the other lived until 107 years in Imlitala in Vrindavan. I have met her personally. Her name is Bhishma, but not the sister. Yes. I personally, this is Sakirati's arranging the technical. Yeah.
Audible. So now you are the host, so you can do that. I can't. So you go on the list of the people on the right. If you click like participant, you go to Radha Madhava Devi Dasi, more.
Yeah. I'm going now. Yes, I saw her, more, and allow to record local.
Allowed local, yes.
Yeah. Okay, good, done. Yeah. No problem. It's good now, right? No, nothing else. Okay, thank you. A little bit, I would like to mention about what Srila Sridhar Maharaj have commented on this topic and Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada has commented that the only qualification is a Krishna Tattva Vedi, that one must know the Tattva of Krishna. And the other quote we know is Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kenanaya, which means one's social or religious standing in society has no bearing on one's capacity to serve as guru. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj has predicted that the topic of women accepting role of acharya will come up in the future. And he quoted, of course, the examples of Janava Devi and Ganga Mata Goswamini, and have also mentioned that whoever is qualified should be accepted as acharya. Prabhupada has also mentioned, there is a quote from him that he says that like Janava Devi, Lord Nityananda's wife, she was acharya, and that she was controlling the whole Vaishnava community. And there is also a quote from Srila Guru Maharaj have quoted recently about that Krishna may be the guru of the whole world, but his guru is Radha. And he quoted the Radhikara Prema Guru, Ami Shishya Nata. This is what Krishna is saying. So we will start today with Janava Devi because she's one of the most famous. Bhakti Ratnakara is the book where we can read about it mostly, and I have taken from there most of the quotes. But on the biographies of Vaishnavas, I have also used the book I will show you here. Let me just see if I show it good enough. So this is a book which is Mandala have printed it. It is from Bhakti Balabtirtha Maharaj, and it's about the Associates of Mahaprabhu. If you see, it's called Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Associates. And there is a whole, all the Krishna Lila parshads or participants, and also who are there respectfully in the Gaura Lila is described inside. And some of our Guru Parampara contemporary, who is who in our Guru Parampara. So it's very interesting, and some famous saints in the more recent history. And I have taken from there, there are two Vaishnavis there, their biographies, Sri Janava Devi and also Ganga Mata Goswamini. So we will start with Janava Devi. There is especially Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has mentioned her many times in his songs. So one of the first publications he printed, this is in his Sajjana Toshani, in his magazine. He published especially an issue, one issue specifically only for her, about her. It's called Srimati Janavi Parameshwari issue, and it was anniversary of Janava Devi, which was celebrated. And there he's explaining that she appeared from the womb of Bhadravati, who was the fortunate wife of Suryadasa Pandit. And Janava was endowed with all good qualities, along with her elder sister, Srimati Basudha Devi, and they both married Nityananda Prabhu. He also says in this same a magazine that she visited the Vaishnavas in various parts of the country and succeeded in giving Krishna Bhakti to many people. And from time to time, she performed various miraculous deeds in society. There is a legend about her that Virabhadra Goswami Prabhu, this is the son of Nityananda Prabhu and Vasudha, that he entered the courtyard with intention of taking Diksha from Sri Advaita Prabhu, and he sought permission from his stepmother, who is Janavadevi. And at that time, Janavadevi was pulling water from the well, and she was wearing gamsha. And suddenly, seeing her son Virachandra, she bowed down in shame. And being distracted, she manifested 2 extra arms from her shoulders to cover herself. And Virachandra, seeing this, was so astounded that he was grasping her feet. And then he said, Mother, I could not understand your glories until now. Please purify my offense. And she actually gave him, she initiated him, and she also instructed him on devotional rules and regulations. It is said also, he mentions here that she's Ananga Manjari. And that's also in this connection, he's mentioning her in many of his songs, because his Diksha Guru, Bipin Bihari, was actually in the line of Janavadevi. And he was many times, we will see one of his songs at the end where he's praying directly to her. And here he's mentioned that Bhakti Ratnakara is going to be published a little bit later, and that one can read her full history there. So there is a quote from Kalyana Kalpataru from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's saying, O Janavadevi, be merciful today to your servant and deliver me from my pain. Give me a place in the boat of your lotus feet so that I can be sure to cross over the ocean of birth and death. Your Nityananda's energy, your devotion to Krishna and my Guru, please give this servant the desired tree of your lotus feet. How numerous are the fallen souls that you have saved. This fallen beggar seeks a place at your feet. And so I will give you now next short description of her life, which is from Bhakti Ratnakara. This is the main place we can find information about her. Here it is said that Balaram's wives Varuni and Revati became Vasudha and Janavi, who were the 2 wives of Nityananda Prabhu in Chaitanya Lila. They were both daughters of Surya Das, who was Kakudman, the father of Revati, in his previous birth. And according to some opinion, Janava is an incarnation of Ananga Manjari. So not all the opinions are are same. So some consider her as Ananga Manjari. This is actually from Gaura Ganodesha Dipika, this excerpt. So here a quote is that both opinions are possible because there's more than one identity in which can join among the associates of Mahaprabhu. So Janava's father was Surya Das and mother Bhadravati. They lived in Shaligram, in the village, which was not far from Navadvip. Surya Das Sarakel, he was magnanimous devotee, and Gauri Das Pandit, who is very famous from Chaitanya Lila, he lived together with him. And the most famous part of Janava and Vasudha life is marrying Nityananda Prabhu. And Narahari Chakravarti Thakur is writing about it that actually every Vishnu Tattva has three energies, which is called Shri, Bhu, and Nila. So Nityananda Prabhu, being also Vishnu Tattva, he also has these three energies. And describing Lord Nityananda's wedding, he explains also that his two wives are also his energies. So Surya Das was very much worried to find suitable husband for his two daughters. And he got one advice that in the village of Ekachakra, there is a couple named Harai Pandit and Padmavati, who was Vasudeva and Rohini in their previous lives in Krishna Lila. And Balaram incarnated as their son Nityananda, and he traveled all the places of pilgrimage, performed many austerities, and became a great scholar before coming to Navadvip and becoming Mahaprabhu's dearest associate. And he was told that he's the eternal husband of the two daughters he has. And in a dream, Surya Das also had a vision of Nityananda as Balaram, with Bashuda and Janava standing to his left and right, in their forms as Revati and Varuni. And when Surya Das took the Brahmin's advice seriously and offered the two girls to Nityananda's lotus feet, Nityananda Prabhu mercifully gave him the same vision directly. And Surya Das fainted in ecstasy. He saw Bashuda and Janava as Varuni and Revati, whose forms were more effulgent than mountains of gold and kumkum. Standing to the left and right of Balaram, they were decorated in magnificent jewelry and bedecked in fine, colorful cloths. Nityananda revealed this magnificence to his devotee in order to give him joy, and Suryadas completely forgot himself in his ecstasy. This is from Bhakti Ratnakara. And then further, the Adivas rituals on the eve of the wedding were conducted in the house of Krishna Das Sarakel in Shaligram, and all the Brahmins of Baryagachi and Shaligram were present there. So Surya Das Sarakel gave his two daughters away to Nityananda Prabhu, according to the religious rites. And Sachimata requested especially Nityananda Prabhu to stay for some time after his wedding in Shantipur before moving to Shaptagram. And he stayed with Udarana Datta together and then established permanent residence at Kardaha on the banks of the Ganges. So Janava Devi, she didn't have herself sons, but Bashuda Devi gave birth to Virabhadra and to a daughter whose name is Ganga Devi. They're both incarnations of Ksherudakashaya Vishnu, this is Virabhadra, and Ganga Devi's river Ganges, respectively. And according to Gauraganodesha Dipika, Ganga Devi's husband, who is Madhavacharya in Gaura Lila, was incarnation of King Shantanu. We know that Shantanu in Mahabharata has married Ganga Devi. The most famous part of Janava's life is her traveling and the very famous Keturi festival. She was present there, and this is the place where Narottam Das Thakur installed deities on the appearance of Mahaprabhu. And the installation of the deities took place directly under her direction. And she supervised and participated personally in the cooking of the first offering and made the first offering to the deities. And that she served personally the prasadam to all the assembled devotees. So there is a short description from Bhakti Ratnakara that she rose early in the morning in great delight, took her bath, did her mantra meditation, and she began to cook innumerable vegetable preparations with great enthusiasm. And then the next is, of all Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal associates from Bengal, they were very happy to see Narottam Das. Janava Devi, the daughter of Surya Pandit and wife of Nityananda Prabhu, worshipped by the entire universe, expert in the distribution of the pearl of Prema, was delighted to hear his name. Her joy increased when she observed his uncommon love for Krishna in his renunciation. Out of her mercy, she came to Keturi, satisfying everyone by being present there and giving her darshan to all. How can a fallen person like myself fully describe the compassionate nature of Srimati Janava Devi? And in the 11th Taranga of Bhakti Ratnakara, there's a description how she traveled from Keturi after that to Braj. And on the way, she was stopping in different villages, and she was delivering atheistic unbelievers and criminals, and was bestowing Krishna Prema upon all. When she arrived in Vrindavan, she saw the Samadhi of Gauridas Pandit, which moved her to tears. And in Vrindavan, the leaders of the Vaishnava community, as Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Lokanatha Goswami, Bhogarba Goswami, Madhu Pandit, and others, all came to offer their respectful greetings. And taking these leaders with her, she visited the three principal temples in Vrindavan, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath, before going to Radhakund. In Radhakund, she met Raghunath Dasa Goswami. He was engaged in constant chanting of the holy name, and his body was emaciated by his austerities. And Janava remained in Radhakund for 3 days, engaged in bhajana. And there is a famous story there that she heard the sound of Krishna's flute while she was sitting on the banks of a tank, which is of the tank there. And she had a vision of Sri Krishna, which overwhelmed her with waves of divine love. So this ghat, where she was sitting and bathed, is now known as Sri Janava Ghat. Also at Radhakund, there is a small, probably it's not samadhi, but it's some small place for where she was chanting, and they have just built some beautiful, like bhajan kutir. And then she took the company of the Vaishnavas on parikrama of Rajamandal. And during this parikrama, it is said that she heard Jiva Goswami discourse on Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And after that, she returned to Gauradesh, but she visited many different villages, which were connected especially with those associates of Mahaprabhu. So she went to Keturi, which is the home of Narottam Das, Budhuri, which is the home of Ramchandra Kaviraj, and then Ekachakra, the birthplace of Nityananda Prabhu, and Katwa, that's the place where Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And she met there Yadunandan Acharya. Other place is Jajigram. This is the home village of Srinivasacharya. Shrikhanda, which is the home of Raghunandan Thakur. And she went to Navadvip, Ambika, and Shaptagram, where she visited Udaranadatta's house before going back to Kandahar. And she met there again Bashuda and Virabhadra Goswami. So it's famous that she went few more times to Vraja. And on her first trip, it is said that Rupa Goswami himself explained to her the literature he was writing. And gradually, she developed a plan to create solidarity between the Vaishnavas of Bengal and those of Raja. And this she was doing while she was visiting the holy places of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. It is said that during her lifetime she converted many Muslims to Mahaprabhu's Vaishnavism, and that the six Goswamis treated her with utmost respect. Especially, it's said that Raghunath Dasa Goswami was very grateful for her association. He also spent a lot of time with her to show her the area of Radhakund. And they had the opportunity to dance in ecstasy. There is a very famous story also about the deities of Radha Gopinath, that once she had a vision of the Gopinath deity and his little Radha companion. And Krishna Gopinath told her to replace the Radha deity with one which is larger. So she took back this mission to Bengal, and she journeyed back to Vrindavan with a new deity of Sri Radha. And when she reached Vrindavan with the new deity, it had to be decided where the original smaller deity would be placed. And the king of Jaipur took charge of the original deity. And the new one was installed on the left of Sri Gopinath. And it was called Janava Radhika. So this Radhika, which is now together with Gopinath, is known with this name, Janava Radhika. And there is also another famous story about her, that one day she entered the temple alone of Radha Gopinath, and the temple door closed behind her, and that Sri Gopinath caught hold of her garment and pulled her, making her sit on his left. And when the devotees opened the door of the temple, they found Janava transformed in a golden deity, manifest on Gopinath's right side. It's also said that she left this world by merging into the deity of Lord Gopinath in Vrindavan. And that at the time of her departure from this world, her beautiful manifestation as Ananga Manjari, standing in dancing pose at Krishna's right side, was emphasized by Nityananda Prabhu's most intimate followers. Also, it is said that Janavadevi also arranged the marriage of Virabhadra, the son of Nityananda Prabhu, to the two daughters of Yadunandana Acharya, Srimati and Narayani, and they both became disciples of Janava. So, most important part, I think, in our Guru Parampara, in our connection, is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a special connection with her, because he was initiated by Bipin Bihari Goswami, who is coming in the disciplic lineage of Janava Thakurani. So mainly he was glorifying her in his songbook Kalyana Kalpataru. And I just wanted to read for you one small part, just few shlokas he wrote about her, in glorification of her. Having fallen into this, just to say, this song, it's called Bhavanave Pademor. This is how it starts. And in English, it's the following. Having fallen into this vast ocean of material existence, my heart has become extremely worried. I cannot even find a clue of the means to get some help. I have no strength from fruitive activities or speculative knowledge, nor do I have any help from virtues created by sacrifices, yoga practice, or austerities. I'm extremely feeble. I don't know how to swim. Who will rescue me from this dreadful calamity? I see the horrible alligator of sense gratification present before me. The waves of lust are constantly agitating and provoking me. I can no longer cope with all the urges that are pushing me like a raging wind from my previous births. I simply weep with an agitated mind, for I do not see any rescuer in sight. O most revered Janava Devi, please show mercy to this servant today by virtue of your own good qualities. Kindly relieve all of his afflictions. By taking the shelter of the both of your lotus feet, I will certainly be able to cross over this vast ocean of material existence. You're the very pleasure potency of Lord Nityananda, and you're the spiritual master of devotion to Lord Krishna. Kindly bestow upon this servant the wish-fulfilling desire tree of your lotus feet. And thus, this most wretched and shameful rogue begs at your feet today, for he sees that you're delivering many other sinners. And just at the end of this presentation, because I was really looking for information about this connection of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Janava Devi and his guru Bipin Bihari Goswami, but it was full of different types of interpretations in internet, because as we know, there are lions who believe that it was a lot of this connection speaking on Ananga Manjari and this understanding of Mahaprabhu performing his lila same as Krishna is doing with Radha, in this case with Vishnu Priya Devi. But we have heard from Padmanabha Maharaj, I did at least, that this is actually, as we know, the not correct interpretation as per our acharyas, and then the bhava of Mahaprabhu is completely different. So it was really difficult to find some analysis, some explanation about the connection of Bhaktivinoda with Janava. I found only one interesting one in our line, that it is said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions his spiritual master's name in several places in his own writings to offer him respects, as it is appropriate Vaishnava etiquette for an author. And he published this in several books. The first is in 1893. This is called Siddhi Lalasa Gita Mala. And at the end of his commentary on the Chaitanya Charitamrita from 1894. And in his introduction to an edition of Krishna Karnamrita in 1898, and in Bhagavatarka Marichimala in 1901. So the two texts from Gita Mala are particularly interesting. They indicate the Siddha name of Bipin Bihari, which is called, it is said that it is Vilasa Manjari. And he's saying there, when will Vilasa Manjari and Nanga Manjari, in this case, Janava Mata, see me and being merciful, speak the essential words. O Vilasa Manjari, Ananga Manjari, and Rupa Manjari, please notice me and accept me at your feet, bestowing on me the essence of all perfection in both of these songs. Bhaktivinoda follows the classical tradition established by Narottam Das, where he's praying to his spiritual master in his Siddha form, in this case as Manjari. So I didn't dare, of course, to dig more. This is a very elevated topic for me. If anyone would like to comment or to say anything further, it's like beyond me. I would prefer just to make a compilation of the sources of the biographies of Vaishnavis and just to read about them to you. And in the next one, we will see the Ganga Mata Goswamini, which is also very interesting life she was having. And if anyone would like to add anything, if you have any questions, you're most welcome. And thank you for having me present or read about these special Vaishnavis. Oh, sorry, I didn't see their things in the chat before. Aha. So I have to repeat the names of the Vaishnavis. Okay. Sorry. Then I would just repeat for the Spanish speaking I see here. It was not heard. Yes, so we will see in this series several Vaishnavis, which today we heard about Janava Thakurani. Then the other very famous is Hemalata Thakurani. She's the daughter of Srinivasacharya. And Ganga Mata Goswamini also we will hear about. There are two sisters, Krishna Priya and Vishnu Priya. They're daughters of Ganganar and Chakravarti. And I have found two contemporary Vaishnavis. One was living in the mat of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and the other one is she left just a few years ago. Pishima Devi Dasi. She lived in Imlitala in Vrindavan. I have some pictures I can show you. And she left her body when she was 107 some years ago. Okay. Thank you very much. If there are no questions or comments, just to thank you for being together and listening about the Vaishnavis. Hari Bol.
Srimati Sadhvi Devi ki jai.
Devotees ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripat vasindubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.